The last videos have looked at how other species learn, remember, and use knowledge and reason to make decisions. This part will look at flexible intelligence, the action of using your mind to produce ideas, to come up with new solutions, adapt to new circumstances, and learn new ways of doing things. The ability to think flexibly exists across the species. And researchers have found that cognitive flexibility in other species can even surpass our own. Survival in the wild is unpredictable, as anyone who has tried it knows. And like us, animals need to use their wits to survive. Understanding exactly what needs their unique habitats demand, they devise appropriate and creative strategies to meet them. Once an individual discovers something new, such as an improved technique for building, a new source of food or water, or a new migration route, their discoveries are copied by their peers, who learn from watching them. This accumulated knowledge is passed through the generations and becomes culture. The reach of animal culture has been found to extend across many different behavioral domains and to rest on a suite of social learning processes. While some traditions can last for hundreds of years, new ways of doing things are also invented and learned. Innovation has led to all kinds of survival tricks and tools. Today, we know many species use tools for a variety of purposes, from obtaining food and water to grooming, building, and protection. They shape tools to fish out prey, use stone and wooden tools to crack open nuts, sharpen spears out of sticks, use walking poles to measure water levels, use leaves and sticks to clean themselves, and protect themselves from the elements. Dolphins use sea sponges to protect their noses while scaling the ocean floor. Crabs use sponges as hats and snip and glue sponges to their body to disguise themselves. Birds use bait to catch their prey. Otters use rocks to open clams. Octopuses use coconut shells to protect themselves. Wood mice use leaves, twigs, or bright objects as landmarks to mark their way when exploring new territory so they don't get lost. The many survival tools and tricks that animals have invented are still being discovered, and the list is always growing. Researchers recently found that after elephants dig water holes, they plug them with balls of chewed bark. Tailor birds use plant fiber or spider silk to sew up their nests. Seagulls learn how to trick worms into coming to the surface of lawns by emulating the sound of falling rain with their feet. Birds learn how to use fire to chase out their prey by watching their elders. Some researchers believe that humans may have first learned this technique by watching birds do it. Just as we learn new skills by watching others, so do other species. Studies have shown that squirrels learn survival tricks like how to steal by watching others do it. Bees learn to solve new problems by watching their peers. Otters learn to solve puzzles by watching each other. And chickens can learn from watching others on television. Learning new ways of doing things by watching others has even been shown in reptiles. A bearded dragon was taught how to open a sliding door. Other lizards who watched a video of him doing it were able to open the door in the exact same way, while the lizards who didn't watch the video weren't able to. Other studies found that lizards could not only learn from watching their own species, but also from watching other species. Studies also found that bats learn new things by watching other species. The capacity to learn from other species demonstrates flexible thinking. Birds learn languages of other species. Squirrels learn bird language and listen in on what they can't see. Birds have learned to communicate with tribespeople, to mutually locate and access food. Cooperating with other species requires flexible intelligence. And this is seen in the many different ways animals have learned to live alongside humans. And in the many ways they have learned to use their niche of intelligence to cooperate with humans. From rescuing them and alerting them to landmines, to detecting and alerting them to different diseases. The flexible intelligence of other species is seen in the many ways they have learned to do what humans want them to do. Other species have learned everything from our language to how to drive. They have learned how to take our tests to prove their intelligence. And in these tests, they've proven their ability to measure time, to categorize objects, to count, and do math. Animals have proven their intelligence in learning human tests, but in their autonomy, they use their intelligence for their own means. Linus's count roars from intruders. Fish count the numbers in schools. Honeybees count landmarks and communicate information about food locations using a geometric dance, which they learn to perfect from more experienced dancers. We are beginning to understand how complex the intelligence in the animal world really is. We are beginning to understand that, like us, animals can pass down information, important for their survival, through communities and families. Through flexible intelligence, other species have adapted to the human species. But in their autonomy, when animals have agency to use their own intelligence to survive in the world, they use it. As we have seen with animals who have returned to autonomy. After natural disasters, displaced domestic animals will reorganize into groups in order to survive on their own. After floods devastated regions of northern Australia, displaced horses were seen banding together to form new groups. After the Chernobyl disaster made the land uninhabitable and humans disappeared from the area, the cows left behind formed organized groups in order to survive on their own. Together, the group has managed to survive freezing winters, protect the young, and stave off natural enemies. with a structured and disciplined social hierarchy, and a leader, the oldest and strongest bull. This example has allowed scientists to draw conclusions on the habits of their ancestors. Judging by the feral Chernobyl herd, these extinct animals were sociable, social, and intellectually developed, and very rarely became prey to predators, even the wolf. Because intelligence is vital for surviving in the world, leaders are chosen not just for their physical strength, but for their intelligence, knowledge, and age. Researchers found that age and wisdom can be important factors in leadership, emphasizing the importance of the knowledge that older individuals may possess. This shows that animals are well aware of the intelligence of others, and that intelligence is valued as a trait. Being conscious of the intelligence and knowledge of others and of one's self was once considered a uniquely human trait. Darwin first hypothesized that animals may choose partners based on this trait, but his theory was difficult to prove. It is known that animals choose mates based on demonstrations of intelligence, such as complexity of song and dance repertoires, building ability, or navigation and foraging skills. But now, Darwin's hypothesis that animals may prefer intelligent mates has been tested by researchers who proved that female budgerigars preferred males who could solve puzzles to those who couldn't. Other studies are now proving that animals are aware of the knowledge of others, and that they are aware of their own knowledge. A decade of research suggests that, like humans, other animals can differentiate between what they know and what they do not know. Studies found that pigeons have knowledge of their own knowledge, and chimpanzees think about their own thinking. Rats are smart enough to grasp how smart they are and have the ability to monitor the strength of their own memories. Rats can tell when they've forgotten something just like us. To test whether animals know what they know, researchers measure the confidence they have in their decisions and ability to solve a specific problem. Researchers found that dolphins can evaluate the likelihood of whether their response to a task was or will be correct. They found that rhesus monkeys can recognize confidence about their decisions by using a betting procedure, and that the metacognitive ability of monkeys is similar to that observed in human subjects. They found that bantams prove to have metacognitive ability that allows them to recognize confidence about their immediate perceptual decisions. Other studies have found that other species are not just aware of the information they have, but also the information they need. They found that jays can differentiate sources of information according to their value and collect information needed to solve a future problem. They found that rhesus monkeys collect information as needed before acting, and chimps and orangutans look for information to fill gaps in their knowledge. While studies are proving that animals are aware of their knowledge, other studies have demonstrated that they enjoy expanding it. Researchers found that cows take pleasure in their own learning achievements. And when cows figured out how to solve a new task, They showed emotional and behavioral reactions that indicated excitement. Scientists call this reaction to solving new problems, the eureka effect. And it's also been seen in dogs and sheep. The cows in these studies chose to voluntarily participate in learning the tasks. In other studies, primates, dolphins, and goats voluntarily participated in solving problems out of a desire to solve them rather than in exchange for food. The desire to come up with new solutions to new problems and to learn new ways of doing things is seen in the many ways animals have adapted to the human world. From using traffic to crack nuts, using drains as megaphones, using trains and subways, ships, boats, pedestrian crossings, taps, wells, and fountains, to following boats and plows. Flexible intelligence is seen in the ongoing efforts of humans and other species to outsmart each other. Birds have not only figured out how to dismantle bird deterrents, but also how to use them in their own nests to deter other birds. Raccoons have learned how to open windows, doors, and locks by watching others do it. One study found they were able to open 11 out of 13 complex locks. Elephants have learned how to drop wood or rocks on electric fences to short them out. Rats have learned to avoid traps and set them off with rocks or wood. Dingoes who have been sick or seen other members die after eating baited meat not only avoid baits in future, but teach younger members to do the same. Leading researcher in the behavior of dingoes, Bradley Smith, writes, "Learning from watching others, that's a cognitive skill. That's not instinct. That's higher order thinking, where you're making decisions and thoughts in your mind." Intelligence is not static, but flexible. The ability to innovate, to learn, to understand new things, and to accumulate knowledge is ongoing and is part of being a thinking animal.